Good morning, Nellie. Hi, Jen. Hello, Hunter.
Hello, how's everyone doing?
Good. How are you
Good.
guys?
Great.
Good.
Morning, all. Morning, Walter. Morning, Jen. Morning, Hunter.
Good morning.
Good morning, Nelly.
Now it's day 2 of Agenda 3. That's good.
Yes.
And we'll see the maps made by the participants from the first lecture.
Good
So
morning.
interesting. Oh, hello. How are you doing?
Supri.
Morning. Good morning, Hunter. Nice to see you.
Good morning. How are you doing?
Bye.
Supri, you're on your balcony.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I'm in my backyard, as you can see.
Oh, yeah.
What about Madonna? I don't see Madonna.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, sorry. She will teach at the training, Walter.
She's sleeping.
Oh,
Still has
she
1
will-
minute to sleep.
at the training. She is at the training today.
Oh,
Yeah.
I see another training. Wow, really busy
Yeah.
schedule. My goodness.
yeah.
Too many training courses in the club.
Too many, yeah.
Meteorology, climate, and also for the new officer up training.
Who will present the training about climate?
I don't know.
Maybe some people from Indonesia can lecture on climate. I don't know. Or Noah.
Yeah, Punali.
Yeah, we have a like annual workshop with Noah. It will be on this September. Yeah, the end of September.
Okay, I think we can start.
Yeah, I think we can start.
8:01.
Oke. Langsung atau ada ini, Bu? Ada sambutan, Bu?
Langsung aja, Pak.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good morning and welcome of Walter, Hunter Martin, Jessica, and also Punali. Selamat pagi. Dan juga good morning to all of the participants. Thanks for being here. We come back to GIS training day 2. Now we are going to start the second day of the training. Before continuing the training, the instructor will review and providing feedback on last individual GIS assignment. Yeah. By Jennifer and also Hunter. Maybe we'll give some comment of your assignment result. After that, we continue with the topic creating ethnicity map, multi-data set map, discussion, and also second assignment. Okay, we will invite Hunter Martin and also Jessica to give review and also providing feedback on the last assignment of the participant. Okay, welcome Hunter and Jessica. Time is yours.
Thank you. Thank you. I have the assignments that we can go by and just kind of pick some at random, and then maybe you guys can talk over it, kind of explain your thought process in making your map. Let me pull them up and then I'll share my screen. Sorry, give me 1 second. Can everybody see this?
Yeah. Very good.
Okay, so if you see your map, maybe just kind of give a brief summary of how you went about creating it. So I think this one's by Amelia, if I'm pronouncing that right.
This is the result from who, Hunter?
Amalia,
Amalia.
Amalia.
Come
Yeah.
from?
Yeah, hello, sir.
silakan.
Hello.
Where
Yeah.
are you come from? Amalia.
Stagi of Tangerang.
Oh, Stakif Tangerang.
Yeah.
Nice map. You did a good job.
Yeah, very good. The color ramp looks good. It looks like the hill shade is very well done. And your legend is very nice, very well organized.
Thank you, Mr.
Mhm.
Thank you.
What is, excuse me, what is the year beneath the legend? For example, Salah 1938.
In data. Sorry.
I don't know. What
Can I
is
just
it?
make a quick comment?
Yeah. Please. Jennifer.
Amalia, I really like your map. You did an amazing job. Just one thing I would note, whenever you do your legend, make sure that you include your faults and your volcanoes in there as well, okay?
Yeah. Yes, sir.
Yes, but other than that, terrific. Looks really good.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, I guess we can move on to another one.
I have a question on this map.
Oh, sure.
Let's go back. Let's see. So first thing on the left is the elevation and bathymetry. That's good. Then there's the text. The Indonesia island of Java is located in a highly seismic area of the world. In addition to the subduction zone off the south coast of the island, and Java also has many local faults to generate the earthquakes. So my comment is very simple. Usually, if we talk about seismic activity and earthquakes, it should be included in the figure. So what you have written is very true. There's nothing wrong with what you've written. But can you tell us why you didn't include some earthquakes to demonstrate, or why you didn't include earthquakes? Thank you.
Not yet include in the test, I think.
Or
Oh.
maybe the inclusion of earthquakes hasn't been introduced yet. I've forgotten, to tell the truth. It's 3 days.
Yeah. Let me
That's,
comment.
Sure.
I think it is better if the shock latitude is maybe 10 or so on the subsection zone can be mapping completely.
Sorry. I just follow the assessment. So I don't know earthquake include the map.
Good. Okay, that's a very good answer. Thank you very much. So then for the text, you could also say the Indonesian island of Java is located in a highly volcanic area. In addition to subduction zones, the island has many faults and volcanoes, you know, because you're showing the volcano. Usually when you're making a map, you have to think beyond just the assignment. The written assignment is very, very good, but sometimes you have to think independently and like that. But anyway, we think your map is beautiful. Congratulations on a very good job.
Okay.
Okay,
Thank you, sir.
very good, Amalia. Good luck. Okay.
Okay, next, I think this is by Rizky.
Rizky,
Yes.
where are you come from?
From Earthquake and Tsunami Center.
Oh, PKT.
PGT.
From the office center. Okay.
Yes. So that in this map, will explain about the volcanoes by the classification, but I failed to classification the volcanoes by the last eruption year. I want to make the symbol of volcanoes in different colors, but I can so I just put the gradients color in there.
Yeah,
Rizky.
I like the addition of this second color palette legend for the eruptions. That's a nice touch.
Thank you.
Rizky,
Yes.
what is the meaning of the year beneath the location volcano?
This is data the data from last eruption year every each volcanoes, and I want to show the
Really?
risk volcanoes that eruption by the years, but that's I failed to show the volcano by the color. For example, for volcanoes who eruption in the year 1000 until 2000, I want to the color is green, and the volcanoes who eruption in 2000 until 2021, I want to the color is red, but I can classification that by the color by the years, so I put the gradient, just the gradient color like that.
So it's mean that all of the volcano is active volcano.
Excuse me, sir.
You say that the years show the eruption time, right?
Yes.
So it mean that all of the volcano is active volcano.
Yes, when the volcanoes show the years and the name, so this must be active volcanoes. But when you look the Lewo, Tolok volcanoes and Lore Boleng volcanoes, there is one volcanoes who doesn't have name, doesn't show the name and year. This must be no data for no data for the for the year, sir.
Okay, thank you.
You're
Any
welcome.
comment, maybe Jessica or Walter? One
Maybe,
more, I think.
maybe Jennifer wants to say, comment on this map. What do you think, Jen?
I was actually just looking at your fault, the thrust fault. Do you have any teeth on there? Because I can't see them. Maybe they need to be bigger, or a a thicker stroke, maybe?
Excuse me.
Your Flores,
Yes, Flores.
you have
Flores Letartres.
Letartres, yeah.
Oh, yes. I met the triangle, but that no show. I'm sure that I met the triangle, like, but this is not show. I'm sorry.
no, it's okay. You just have to go in on your marker and actually increase the size
Oh,
a
yes,
little
yes.
bit. Uh-huh.
Okay.
And I can show you how to do that if you would like.
Yes. Okay. Thank
Okay.
you. Yes.
Mhm.
Yeah, since we're talking about the faults, very commonly a dotted line like you show for Timor Trough, a line which is ... means inferred or uncertain or hypothesized. So Jen and Hunter, can you advise, can you tell us what would be the correct fault? What would be the correct symbol for the Timor Trough in your view?
Okay, I think the reason she might have done this is based on the hall figure. I think within this area, it's a dashed line.
Yes.
But maybe you could increase the size of the rectangle so that it's more dashed rather than dotted. Because I believe they have different meanings. Is that correct, Dr. Mooney?
Yeah, a dotted line is an extension, a extrapolation, an inference, ...
Right.
With the dashed line is a little bit different. I realize that we are talking about very small things, but that's the way it is with these kind of maps. Every symbol has a international meaning. Just as you chose to use blue for water and dark blue for deep water, this is the standard, and green for sea level and brown for higher level. Likewise, there's a meaning for the faults as well. But it's a very nice map, very attractive. You did a nice job on the legend, and you have the scale. You put the north arrow up in the upper right. You added the BMKG insignia, and you gave a nice title.
Thank
How
you.
long did it take you to make the map?
I think 8 hours.
8 hours.
Wow, 1 hour.
Yes.
1 hour, 8 hours.
So because I'm start with the downloading the QGIS because my QGIS is last 3.2, so I must upgrade that, and then I just download the data, and then I think 7 until 8 hours to make this map.
Yeah, I think it is still for the newcomer, Walter.
Sure, everything takes a long time. I like the fact that you gave the eruption ages to the volcanoes, because a typical map just has a triangle and you don't know if the volcano had an eruption in the last 10 years or 100 years. Your map is quite informative in this regard.
Thank you.
Any other suggestions, Jen?
I do want to point out that I noticed that a lot of students forget to cite the OpenStreetMap when they do this inset map here. And I want to applaud you that you remembered to put that in your sources, that you use that map here. So very good job.
Thank you.
Well, you worked hard, 8 hours, but your product is very good. So congratulations.
Thank you.
Excuse me, Hunter.
Yes.
Whereas we have to put the latitude name on the right side on in the left side?
It's really preference, I think. I mean, she's got it marked on the bottom and on the right.
Mhm.
That seems sufficient. You could also include it on all sides. I think it's really just personal preference or based on a standard. But the way she has it is fine, in my opinion. Just as long as it's marked indicating latitude and longitude.
Okay.
All right, so we'll move on to another one. So this one's by Dana.
Dana. Halo, Dana. Dana Risanto. Halo.
Yes, yes, Mister.
Yeah, where are you come from?
I am come from in Malang,
Oh, Malang.
Java. Yes,
Yeah. East of Java. Hunter.
yeah,
Okay. So your main layers, the color ramp and the hill shade look really good. I see you've also included some minor faults. That's very nice. I'm just curious, where did you get the smaller faults from?
Yeah, maybe he forget of the time. The times.
I think it says right here in his sources, the bottom.
Oh, okay.
I'm not
No
sure,
worries.
maybe he can clarify what that is or where that is.
I take on the map Pusken.
Puskan
Okay.
is
Yes,
it's the same.
yang fault. I'm trying and Pusken fault.
Yeah, Puskan is some it's a organization. Organization Puskan is stand for Pusat Gempa Nasional.
Yes.
Center for Earthquake National Earthquake Center, but not in BMKG, but BMKG is member of the Puskan.
Okay, great. One small critique I have is maybe put a background behind the scale to make it a little easier to read. It's not terrible, but that might help a little bit.
Yeah, background would be good. That would be good.
Yeah. Anybody else?
Yeah, maybe we have to add the 10 symbol, yeah, 10 symbol in the shot of the Java. Why you not put the 10 symbol? Dana,
Symbol
10,
in topography.
subtraction zone.
Yeah,
Oh, just by topography,
yes,
bathymetry, yeah.
yeah, bathymetry.
I noticed you have a couple East Java layers, like multiple labels. It was this one right here. Is that just an accident?
Yeah.
That's okay.
Redundant.
I'm sorry.
That's okay.
Madura. Karimun Jawa and also Madura.
I have a small comment on the map. The title of this map is Location of Volcanoes and Faults in Java. That means that the main purpose of the map is to inform the viewer about volcanoes and faults However, the volcanoes stand out and are very clear, whereas for us looking at this for the first time, the faults are not very prominent. The line is actually quite thin. And so from my point of view, when a map has a title like, I can turn my video on, sorry. When a map has a title like volcanoes and faults, you expect that those two items will be prominent, very prominent in the map. So you made a nice map and you have good color, but you could make the faults more prominent. Thank you.
Any more
Thank you,
comments
sir.
before we move on this one?
One more comment. I think the entire figure could have a box around it, because now we have the box for the title and of course the latitude and longitude, but we don't have the final box, which includes the legend. It feels a little bit like it's floating a little bit.
Okay, we'll move on to
Okay.
the next one.
Yeah, next one. Hunter.
So this one's by Inda.
Indah, hello Indah.
Okay, I'm here.
Where are you come from?
STMKG, sir. First of all,
Oh.
I want to say sorry for inactive video because there is a slow internet connection over here. So I turned off the video.
So you're a student at the college at STMKG.
I think not student.
No, I'm the administration employee in STMKG.
Ah, nice to meet you. I've been there many times. Beautiful campus. Okay, maybe you can introduce your map.
Okay, I follow the assignment term. So this is the map of Java. And this is a very simple map, I think. The source is from the topography data from GAPCO. And then I show the volcano, also Java trends. And then in the legenda, I also show the elevations. Just a simple one because I just follow the term. I think use the GIS with GIS and 3.16 is the one new experience for me. Okay, like that, I think. I open for the comments.
Your map is very well done. The layers themselves look really good. One small critique I would make though, you've included the Timor Tra and the Wetar in the legend. It looks like in this case, maybe it's not really necessary because they're not within the map frame. And then my only other comment would be to cite or source where you got your tectonic boundaries from, or just say that you got them from georeferencing the Hall paper.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, but other than that, very, very well done.
I have a comment.
Yes,
I would-
please.
I would, on your coordinates, I would just bring them down. You don't need so many zeros. I believe it's called coordinate precision under the properties on the grid. You can actually bring that down. And then also if you add a suffix, it's a lot more informational so that you can see, you know, north, south, east, west, just by selecting the with suffix option whenever you do your coordinates. But other than that, I agree with Hunter. It's really good. Well done.
So this is Walter. I have I have a
Thank you.
couple of small comments.
Yes, please.
I suppose I would call it a volcano map or map of volcanoes of Java. I mean, it's a small thing, but this is really what you're showing. You could say, you know, if it was seismicity, you would call an earthquake map. And in this case, it's a volcanic map. I think that maybe the entire map could have a square around it, a box around the entire map. As the same comment as I gave before. And maybe I missed something. Did anyone mention these? What about the source of the volcano information? The volcanoes are plotted and the eruption dates are given, but there's no source for that information.
Yeah, I agree as well. Yeah.
Yeah, maybe let me comment.
Sure.
I think all of the participants have to be careful to put the source and also the legend. For example, as the hunter said that the Timor II and also Wetar, it was not exist on the map, so you should not write the Timor II and also the Wetar. I think that's my comment.
But it's really a beautiful map, and everyone likes to look at a map like this because it has these colors, reminds you of the deep water out of the Java Trench and the slope coming up to the island and the distance from the trench to the volcanic activity. So there's a great deal of information. In addition, you have the date of the last eruption. So a lot of information is communicated in your very attractive map. Congratulations.
Also,
Thank
I
you
wanted
so
to make
much.
one more comment on, since we were talking about sources, I did notice that we need to put the 2009 paper that we got the fault from. Don't forget to put that one in as well.
Oh, yeah. Right.
But well done.
Thank you so much for the comments, and thank you for the lecture to all lecturer. Thank you so much.
Is this the first time you made a QGIS map, or did you make one years ago and now you relearn, or is it the first time?
Actually, this is the first time because in STMKG I just the administration employee, but in school period I use GMT, not use the QGIS or GIS like that.
Good. Well, GMT is more complicated, but they both have a good use. So that's wonderful that you have a new experience and have learned from the training this week. Congratulations.
Thank you so much.
Okay, so this next one is by CT.
Hello, Siti. Hello, Siti.
Hello, sir.
Yeah, where are you come from?
I'm from Stage of Sumba Timur.
But you can show where you come in the map.
Yeah,
Yes,
for
also.
this assignment, I use bathymetry data, and then I put some volcanoes, but I don't give the name, the label. I forget about the label from the volcanoes. Maybe just that, sir.
Okay. Please, Hunter, you
Sure.
comment?
I think you did really well on the labels in here. I think they're, to me at least, they seem very readable, and I like that they're centered in the, it seems like you have them sorted by city or district or whatever county these are. I would minor critique again, similar to one of the other ones. You could make the triangles on the thrust fault. You can make that line a little thicker so that it appears a little better on the map.
Oh, yeah,
So
yeah.
like, yeah, so like increase the line thickness. I would also probably say on the Timor Tra here, maybe you could make those rectangles a little wider again, so it looks more like a dashed line
Okay.
rather than dotted. Anybody else have any other comments?
Yeah, I think in the legend you should the big map is Indonesia and the small map is the Nusa Tenggara, Lombok, for example. In the selection, so that the map is similar with the map, the mind map.
Excuse me, sir. I want to ask about the hill sheet in the map.
Sure.
There is some like a dash line below the threshold. So why this is happen? I just want to ask about this.
Yeah, so the GEPCO layer, what they do to make that is they essentially merge DEMs, DEMs and bathymetry data. And it looks like in this case that they were just of a different resolution. So one was a higher resolution and one was a lower resolution. And it looks like
Oh,
this
yeah.
was just an unfortunate area that just happened to be a product of differing resolution. So in this case,
Oh.
there's really nothing you could do about it,
Oh, okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
unfortunately.
I think you spent a lot of time and thought about your map very carefully. How many hours do you think you spent to make your map?
About 6 hours. Before that, when I run this data, the data is, when I run this data, the QGIS is closed and I make a new one because the trouble of the application.
Okay, so you had to make a second try.
Yeah, second try.
What about the feeling? Do you feel very satisfied? Do you feel happy that you are able to make such a beautiful map now? What's
Yeah.
your feeling?
I'm feeling happy. And I just want to ask about the label from the district. Sometimes when I use the label is not like in the map, just like in outside of the map. Can you explain when we put the label, just like apa ya, exists in the map, the label is exists on the map, the center.
So as in like the label is there, but it's just not centered?
Yeah,
Okay.
because the name is too long.
Right. Sometimes they just, the label is centered, you can change the way it's orientated. So there's options for where it picks the point in the label within QGIS. Sometimes it just naturally won't appear in the right place. You can manually move them. But there is options within QGIS to change where labels will spawn in the map, if that makes sense. Or where they
Okay.
will appear when you decide to add the label option. So there's a setting to adjust that.
Okay.
I have one more comment. I just noticed down in the bottom in the legend, I had a truck go by. I just noticed down in the bottom of the legend, you have the Google map.
Yeah.
And to
Oh,
be
yeah.
honest, on my screen, it's quite dark. I didn't notice it, I think, before
Oh.
because it's quite dark. But more importantly, there really isn't any more information in the Google map because it's the same area as the primary map. So,
Okay.
you know, the usual purpose of an inset map of the small map is to show you all of Indonesia and where's the map area as a small box.
Okay. Okay. Thank
So
you, sir.
there's very little function.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
I
yeah.
should also say that I find that Google Maps work very well for PowerPoint presentations, but I don't know, there's some limitation with them for this kind of application. Maybe Jennifer, can you tell us your advice?
Sure, yes. I've always had really good results with just using the basic OpenStreetMap, just because it's very plain. There's not a whole lot of terrain or hill shade, or like Walter pointed out, you know, there's a lot of darkness, a lot of shadows. You're presenting that already in your map. So basically your inset map just needs to show more of like the location of it, where it is in the globe. So I would recommend using something that's just more map-like and not so much terrain related. Does that make sense?
Okay,
Yeah.
makes sense.
Yes.
Well, Jen, you bring up a really interesting point, and that is that it's not always true that more detail and more information is better in every application. Sometimes, like you just said, you just need a simple map to say, where are we? Where are we in Indonesia today? And yeah, I think it's a mistake to try to make everything complex. Thank you.
Ya, oke ya itu ya untuk yang lain juga ya. Jadi peta legend itu biasanya untuk menunjukkan. Jadi kalau kita lihat peta yang di atas, itu kan kita tidak tahu sebetulnya ini wilayah mana gitu ya. Nah, jadi butuh peta yang diinsert di peta yang lebih besar Indonesia gitu ya. Jadi ketahuan lokasi ini tuh di mana. Nah, kadang ada suatu, kalau ini mungkin masih mending ya, tapi kalau ada suatu peta kecil gitu, tidak ada insert map-nya, itu kita agak kesulitan ini sebetulnya di wilayah mana. Nah, itu tujuannya untuk itu ya, membuat insert peta di legend. Oke, and there might be the next one.
Do you mind if can I share a couple? Or are we all already
of course.
out of time? Okay.
Go ahead.
Great, thank you. Let's see. Okay. I really like this map. The very first thing that I noticed is Berlian. Berlian, is that the name?
Halo, Berlian.
Hello.
Where are you
Hi.
come from?
Good morning.
Banjarnegara.
Beautiful map.
Thank you.
I really like that you brought your volcano names and eruption years kind of out so that there wasn't so much crowding going on. That is just such a wonderful idea because now you can really see a lot of important topography and detail within the map of Java, and that's excellent. So
Thank you.
I'm really happy that you did that. I like that, and I'm gonna have to take that idea and do it on my map.
Yeah, because I think if I put the label under the triangle, the label will not, it's too crowded, and sometimes you
Right.
can read really well.
Yes.
So I try
And
to make it readable.
Right. And you worked
Yeah.
so hard on making this beautiful topography and bathymetry and hill shade, and now you can see it really well. I mean, good job.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Right.
I think very nice map, and also look classical map, right? The color.
Yeah. Because I want the map to show everything, but it's readable.
I think it's the first map that we have seen this morning where some of the cities are also included. I could be wrong,
Yeah.
but you include Jakarta and Yogyakarta and for Bali, you for location. This is helpful. You have also Banten. So it's useful to have not only volcanoes, but some cities. That's nice. Good job. Beautiful map.
Thank you.
I also like how you stylized your ocean labels. They kind of look like standard map symbols or map labels. So I think you did a very good job there.
Thank you.
And also kind of how we were talking about, you just have a simple vector layer for your location map. And in this case, we can see that it's sufficient. So good job there as well.
Thank you very much.
Mhm.
You made the Indian Ocean very strong and clear, but you kind of downgraded Java Sea. Did you have reason for making that very weak? Maybe you had reason.
Yeah, because I wanted to look like a map, real map. I just wanted to like combine with the color. It's green. The Java Sea on the map, main map, is green. So I want to make it the gradient, the color, not really too far from green. But I
Okay.
think it's too light. I think I should change it more dark.
Yeah, that would be easy to change. But it's a beautiful map. And what about the sources? Let me see what you have there.
I put all the source, as far as I know, global relief map from GEPCO, country data from natural earth data, volcano from volcano.se.edu, and the tectonic fault from airhole. I think I put all the source in this map.
Yes, I think you did. That's a nice job. And your inset map, I think Jen refers to it as a street map. That's very simple and direct and clear. You have the red box. That's effective. It shows us where you are in Indonesia.
For the inset map, I use the natural country boundary data, and I make it the land change the color to gray, so it be and the sea white, so it see more clearly. So I don't use the OpenStreetMap for the inset, but I use the country boundary data.
Okay, nice job.
Very good. Very good.
Thank you very much.
Is there any more comments on this one? I'd like to share one more.
I think enough, Jennifer, and you can continue with the next one map.
Okay. This is Tommy. Tommy?
Hello, Tommy. Tommy from Denpasar, Bali. Hello, Tommy.
Yeah, hello. Good morning, everyone. Okay, my name is Tommy. I'm from the Denpasar, Bali. I choose the Bali region for the first assignment. I show the volcanoes and some minor faults. I make the two different color for the volcanoes. The one is the active volcanoes, which means that we have the data, the last eruption year data for the red volcano, but the blue one we don't have the last eruption year data. So I guess it's less dangerous. That's why I put the blue color. And then for the inset map, I faced some difficulties when I use the OpenStreetMap. I don't know why when I add the OpenStreetMap layer and the projection changings and my volcanoes map changings. Maybe when I add the inset map, maybe I should lock the layer first, but I forgot to do that. That's why it's I don't know, it's mess. Then I tried to change the projection for the OpenStreetMap to the EPSG 4329, if I'm not wrong. But the GIS is not responding. That's why I removed the OpenStreetMap layer. Then I use the bathymetric map. That's the difficulties that I face. And the other one is, since I still use the QGIS 2.18, because I'm still downloading the 3.16, it's quite a big data, and I have not really good internet connection. That's why I still using 2.18 for this assignment, and I couldn't find, for the elevation matters, I couldn't find the option to use the topographic RAM color. That's why I just insert the picture. I just click the color RAM, and then I just put it as a picture in my map.
Okay.
I think that's all. Maybe any comments?
So I really think that's very informative how you made your active volcanoes red and then the unknowns blue. I really like that you did that. And also you colored your faults orange, but I don't know if I would do the at least the lettering. Maybe I would do a different color just because it's very hard to see. It's kind of blurry almost. And then I would at least increase your font just because it's hard to see some of your words and years there. But overall, I think you did an amazing job. And I understand your issue with the OpenStreetMap, and I might be able to demonstrate that today if we have time to show you how to do that.
Ya, komentar saya juga sama, Tommy. Jadi apa? Warna huruf itu ya, warna huruf untuk nama Paul itu kurang kebaca ya. Mungkin warna apa ya? Putih, malah putih, tapi putih saja gitu ya. Itu hitam gitu.
Yeah.
Ini yang oranye ini kurang jelas kebaca ya.
I just choose the color as the same as the line. That's why I don't know, because I think like the orange, it's for the orange line, the red font is for the volcanoes, and yeah, maybe I will because previously I used the black, but it seems like is it for the volcanoes or is it for the area? That's why I choose the different color for the font. But maybe I can change the color darker. I think.
Well, maybe even make it a little bit bigger. I think if it was a little bit bigger, it may be more legible. So maybe try that. But I like your idea of keeping things separated as far as like what they are and the colors. You know, it does kind of keep things from all running together. It's a good idea. But maybe just increase your font and see if that helps.
I also found some difficulties about the label. I don't know how to remove for example, I only want to show the Jawa, Bali, and Pulau Lombok, but I face some difficulties to remove the Kepulauan Sunda Besar, Kepulauan Melayu. I don't know how to do it. That's why I just show it all.
Okay,
And I think
I can show
not
that.
really good.
I can show that today if we have a little time. Very good.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, Walter, any comment?
Maybe the problem with the orange font is not only the size, but it seems the choice of the font. The ones that we cannot read, they seem a little bit, it's not a matter only of making them bigger. It seems like maybe they're not as crisp and thin. I don't know the right word. I think you've chosen an interesting font. It seems to have a white boundary around it and then the orange letter inside. But
So
you
that
have to
is the
experiment.
buffer. Yeah, if he took the buffer off that, I bet that would help.
This is all done by experimentation. You know, you try something, and if it works, you keep it.
Yeah.
If it doesn't work, even though you have grand ambitions, you have to admit it's not working and go to the next option. But it's a very attractive map. Congratulations.
Thank you.
You also have the most accurate title to your map. You refer to this as a volcano distribution map for the Bali region. You're very specific. That's very clear what's the purpose of your map. So congratulations on your clarity.
Yeah, thank you.
We are just about out of time, so maybe we should start our first session.
Okay, please.
Sounds like a good idea.
Okay, sounds good. Let me just switch screens here. Can everybody see my PowerPoint?
Yep, it's very clear.
Okay.
Yeah, very good.
And I'm going to turn off my video just so I don't have a bunch of things happening at once here. Okay, everyone still hear me?
Yeah.
Okay,
We hear you.
so session number 1 today is going to be about seismicity. So I know a couple of people had mentioned being able to put seismicity data into their maps, so we're going to get to do that today. So I split this up into 2 sections. The first section, we are first going to download and input the earthquake data, and then we're going to see how we can style the seismicity symbols so that we can tell what magnitude, what depth, or even both that seismic moment happened. So the very first thing we're going to do is go to our USGS earthquake catalog here. And then we're just going to select the 4.5 or larger. This is completely up to you. If you want something smaller, you can actually type it in here and determine your range of magnitude. And then also the custom date and time we're going to put in here is about 2000. So we want at least 20 years. And it's okay. If it's too much, we can always filter out data later. And then Hunter will show you how to do that. And then also on the custom for geographic region, it will allow us to draw a rectangle on the map. So we'll just go over to our area here. And you just select a point, and then it'll just draw, and then you'll select the point when you're ready for the rectangle. And then you select the use this region button. And then on output options, make sure that we select CSV because that is the format that QGIS will read. And then if you click search, it'll automatically download the query. Does everybody have that okay? So then you open up your project, and we're going to continue using the same project we've been working on. And in order to input that delimited text layer, just as we did the volcano layer, so you can go up to layer, add layer, delimited text layer, and then go to where you downloaded your file. And usually the default settings are correct. Just double check everything, make sure CSV is selected. There is no header. You can see down here that the header is already taken care of, so we don't need, we can leave this 0. And then for the Z field, we're going to go ahead and put depth. And then click add. And of course, we can always change the color to make it look more like earthquake color by selecting red here. So the first thing that we want to do is we're curious to see what these are as far as magnitude. So in order to do that, you can go to your layer styling panel here, and you can change this to graduated. And then for the value, we're going to choose magnitude. And then we're also going to change the method to size because we want it to show bigger the higher magnitude. And then you can do equal interval here or pretty breaks. Pretty breaks will actually make everything break up in the right increments here. And then I actually like to change this. We have 9 to 9.1 on the last one. I like to just move that 9.1 up to this because anything greater than 8 is basically what I want to symbolize here. So you can double click on that and actually change the number yourself. Click OK. And then we no longer need this one. So you can delete that, pressing the delete button. Does everybody understand that okay?
Yes.
And then a few other things that I like to do just to make it a little more pleasing to the eye is we have 5 different ranges here. So I like the size to be 1 to 10, just to show that it goes up by 2 in each one. And then also for the really large magnitude earthquakes, you can actually change each one of these symbols. You can make them stars, you can make them whatever you want. So sometimes I like to actually click on the symbol itself and change it to something a little bit more, large, like for instance, this one. So now when we zoom out, well, we don't have very many 9.1s, so we can actually even do the 7 one too as well to show 7 or greater. There we go. So now you can see that anything that's 7 or larger is going to have this big star symbol. So that tells us a lot more information about the seismic activity rather than just a bunch of dots, you know. Does everybody understand that okay?
Yes.
And then I just wanted to touch on, while it's fresh in my mind, I was just thinking about like the labeling issues. If I wanted to just label, say, Java and Bali, if you guys remember on our last session, we were able to filter by, you know, certain attributes. So you can actually do the same thing here. You can go into the geography regions and you can actually show name. If you want a name to be equal to, let's see, let me just double check how it's spelled for the capitalization. Java. And then you can also put on here or, and then you can change the name. Maybe we want it to say Bali. So now it's gonna search our fields. It's gonna find name, and then it's gonna search the values for Java or Bali. And if either one of those are true, it's gonna label it for us. So then you click OK. And so now all we have here are Java and Bali. Does everyone see that okay? Unfortunately, not all regions are going to, or not all labels are going to be included like that we want. So you may have to improvise and label them yourself, as Hunter showed in the first session. So does anyone have any questions on how we style our seismicity symbols by their magnitude, by the size? Does anyone have questions on that?
Excuse me, Jen. I want
Yes.
to ask. My name is Rizky. I want to ask how to change the urutan apa ya? When we use the magnitude 8 until 9.1, I want to show that in upper the magnitude 6 until 7 or other, because the magnitude 8 until 9.1 is more sedikit apa ya? Lupa aku. More easy to see.
Okay. So you
Can
want
we change the
you're asking that you want size 6 all the way up to size 9 to be the same size? Is that what you're saying?
No, this is the symbol of X until 9.6 in the down. I want to make that in upper 9, and then 7, and then 6, and then 5. So we can see the 8 until 9 in first layer. Can you understand? I'm sorry. I'm sorry for my English very bad.
No, that's okay. So let's see. I guess I'm not sure. I think, let's see, I think these are ordered by their time. I wonder if you order, okay, how about this? When you're downloading your data, you can actually select magnitude largest first.
Okay.
And then I think it will work for you. I think what you want is the largest to be on top.
Yes, yes.
Okay. I'm not sure exactly what setting to do in QGIS for that, but I think these are plotting in order of time. So maybe if you download the data in this way, where the magnitude in the largest is first, then it'll or maybe the smallest first and then the largest appears on top. You know what? I'll have to mess around with this, but that's a good point. That's a really good point. I'm not sure how else to do that.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, but I will look into it for you. Okay, we'll come back to her question because I will be able to find an answer for it shortly. So does everyone have any questions on the magnitude just by styling it? Let's see. Okay. So the other thing that we can do is we can actually style it by the depth. So we can actually change the colors based on how deep the earthquake happened. So we're going to leave this graduated, but then we're just going to change this to depth. And then instead of method, we're going to use color. And then on our color ramp, you can actually select a color ramp or you can make your own color ramp. So there's many of color ramps here you can choose from. I like to just make one just because I want to, specify maybe there's a certain standard that some use where the shallow seismicity is red and then maybe the deeper is blue. And you can double click and add these little colors here. So I could double click here and I could double click here. And I can use maybe this color I want to be orange. And then maybe this color I want to use green or something like that. Just however you want. You don't have to choose mine. You can make it your own. And also you can change this from continuous to discrete so that it actually shows those specific colors and none of the colors in between. Does everyone understand that? So now I classify and then I can see all the points and all the earthquakes that are shallow are red and so on. And also, if you feel like maybe you want to edit this a little bit more, maybe you only want 0 to 100 to be red, you can also click on this little symbol here and you can change the color. So now we only have 0 to 100 or 30 to 100 is red. And then we have our orange and then we have our green and then we have our blue. And you can change these as much as you want. You can, if you only want to use 3 colors, that's fine. It's your map. So you make it make sense to you. Do we have any questions about that so far? Anything that you would like me to demonstrate differently or show a different color or?
I have a question.
Sure.
Can we use two variables like the depth and the magnitude at the same time?
Great question. Yes, and we are going to do that right now. So we're going to go ahead and change this back to magnitude. And then we're going to change this back to size. And then unfortunately, we have to make our changes here. Okay. So now we're back to our symbol showing us magnitude by its size. But now we want to keep that color of the depth. So we're going to click on our symbol here. And then we're going to click on simple marker. And then right here next to fill color, do you see this little arrow, it's called a data defined override button. Do you see that? So we're going to click on that. And we're going to go down to assistant. And I like the assistant because it kind of helps you decide what you want. So then we're going to go to our source being depth now, since we used magnitude in the beginning. And then I believe, let's just double check. It's always good to open up the attribute table and make sure that you have, okay, so the deepest we have is 675. So that's good. We're going to go ahead and put our values from 0 to 700 as an even number. And then for our color ramp, we're going to do the same thing. We can delete these. We don't need a whole bunch of colors. So you just click on it and press the little delete button. And then now we're going to go back to what we had just created. Whoops. Our red. And then we want blue. And then this one we're going to go ahead and keep green. And then this one is our orange. Back to discrete. And then click OK. So now you can see that it's showing all of our magnitudes. And then also our, hold on, something's not right. Our depths. Oh, what happened? Okay, sometimes this happens. You have to make sure that you don't accidentally click on just one of these numbers because then it'll only edit that one. Okay, let's try this again. Simple marker. Okay, can everyone see that okay? So that's how we do both magnitude and depth by color. Any questions? Okay, and then there's one more thing that I want to show you before we move on to the next thing here. Oops. Hold on. So yesterday, or I guess Monday for you guys, I showed you how you can label your volcanoes by the last eruption. Well, you can also do something similar to your earthquakes. So we can go down to our labels, and then we can click single labels. And then we don't want them to label all of them because that would be extremely crazy, right? So we're actually just going to use our little expression builder here, the same one that we used with our volcanoes. And then we're going to use the same conditional, the case. Only this time the condition is going to be when the magnitude is, let's see, greater than or equal to, say, whoops, greater than or equal to, say, 6. And then we want it to print the time that that eruption happened. So unfortunately, our time is needs to be formatted because it's not really in a nice year, month, date format. So we're going to have to use the format option here. So we're going to tell it to format date, and then the actual field that we want it to format is going to be the time, and then the way we want it formatted is going to be by the year, month, day. And this needs to be in the quotations here. Can everyone see that okay? Or do you have any questions? Okay, so then we're going to click OK. And now we can see that our last eruption now has a date applied to it. And this is on magnitude 6 and greater. And if we want to make it a little bit more legible, we can do our text buffer. Even make it a little bit bigger. Any questions? Okay. So that's all I have for depth and magnitude. Oh, I do want to show you guys one thing. If you wanted to map this, unfortunately, when you do your legend, the color of depth is not going to apply to your legend. It's going to show up as the magnitude because that's the main source that we chose, and then these black circles, they're not going to be colored. So you actually, when you create this color ramp, you need to save it so that you can use it and draw a rectangle to use in your legend. So you just need to, whenever you go to your colors and your simple marker, you can actually click on this and go down to save color ramp here. And then you can name it. And that way, when you decide to go into your print to make a map, you can actually add your item, and you need to add your rectangle. And then, whoops. Well, and then select the one that you actually, oh, no. Okay, hold on. Why didn't it work? Where's my color ramps at? Darn it. I don't know what happened. Somewhere in here. Oh, linear. Here we go. I don't know how that got switched to centroid. And then okay. So then you have to make your earthquake depth actually by using this rectangle. I think you guys already know how to do that, correct? Okay, very good. Okay. So if no one has any questions on the magnitude and depth symbol, then we'll go ahead and we'll move on to the second part. Okay. So my second lecture, I'm going to go into talking about the temporal option. You can actually view seismic activity in an animated state, so you can see it, come and go, which is really cool. You can, you can filter by the temporal attributes using the temporal controller, and then also the print layout has a temporal option, so that makes it really cool if you want to compare seismicity between multiple time ranges. So let me go back to my project here. And I'm actually going to deselect this one because it's got all kinds of stuff on it. So suppose we just inputted a new layer of our seismic activity. And then we're going to right click on here and go to properties. And then we're going to click, there's this little clock button right here. So we're going to go into that field and we're going to select the temporal option. And then the configuration we're going to use is a single field with a date and time, which is the time that the earthquake happened. And then that particular field is called time. And then for the event duration, you don't have to do this exactly like I'm doing it. I think this helps is to have a little bit longer time duration. That way you don't see a bunch of flickers on earthquakes. They actually come and they stay and then they go away. So I'm going to select 3 weeks. Okay. And then you select this little clock right here. So this is going to be your actual controller. and it's going to actually just play. And I don't know if you guys can see the frame, it's actually showing the dates. And since I have it in 3 weeks time, it's just gonna stay, you know, come and go in 3 week increments. But the step itself is what we want to play with. I have it set to 1 week. So all the earthquakes that happened in that one particular week are going to show up on the screen as, you know, in time. So we can press play here and then we can see the earthquakes. It's kind of hard to see. We can actually go back to our graduated and make them the size that we had before. And now you can kind of see them coming and going. You see a lot of activity happening in one area. So that's really neat. Another setting on here is if you click on the little orange settings button here, you can tell it how many frames per second you want. So if you say you want 10, then that's how many weeks it's going to do per second. Can everyone see that okay? It seems like we need to make it a little bit bigger. And you can play with this even more if you want to see it by the day. You can change the range. So if you're studying maybe a 3-month time period, you can actually type the range in here from the date into the date. And you can see, you know, just the 3 months that you want to see, or year, or so on. There's also another thing that we can do. We can actually make these symbols like grow over time, just to make it a little bit easier to see. So that's one thing that we'll mess around with as well. So we're going to go to the symbol size, and then we're going to click on the simple marker. And then for the size, we're going to use the assistant again. And then this time, since we have this, we have the time range on these for the duration, we have it set at 3 weeks. That's what I set it for. So we actually want to tell it to grow and then go away over the course of that time that we're going to be using. So we're going to go into our expression builder. And then this time we're going to use the day option. So we want to use the day, and then we're going to use the variable map start time. So that's basically when the map, or when the actual player started. And then we're going to subtract the time of the earthquake. Everybody see that okay? And then values from 0 to 21, that's how many days we have. And then now you can see, let's change this back to a week. And now you can see that they kind of go, they kind of grow and stop. Let's change this to 5. So now you can actually see all the seismicity that's happening over a 1 week period. And it's very very flashy, so you can mess with this. You can change the times, you can slow it down. Like for instance, if you only want 1 frame per second, it'll slow it down. And then if we want it to actually grow over time, we can use this transform curve. So when the symbol comes in, it's going to get bigger with time, and then it's going to go out. So that's something really neat. You can also use this save button here. And what this does is it will actually export each frame. And you can use programs like, what was it called? Shotcut. I think Shotcut is one where it'll actually put several frames together and make a movie. And you can actually have a movie to share with someone. So that's actually a neat attribute as well. But it'll save several different frames, and you can select the date range here. I'm sorry, my computer is really slow, but usually you can actually see these. You can actually see these growing and going out, but for some reason my computer is not wanting to show that. And then lastly, you can use this temporal controller within your map. So you can go to, I think I already have one, a little kind of, let's see here. It's taking a minute to load. Okay, so if you come down here on the side of your item properties of your map, you notice that there has this temporal range, and you can select that. And then you can give it a start and end date. So for instance, if I want to show only September of 2010, then I can select those dates. And then it'll show up in my map. I actually need to go back to this. Okay. So, and then you can compare several different ones. And then remember to lock your layers, like one of the students had mentioned. So now you can see seismicity and how it changed over the course of 3 months by viewing the seismicity in each month. And you can do this by years, days, weeks, however you want to do it. Is there any questions with that?
Excuse me, I have a question.
Yes.
Miss Batista,
Yes.
can you also put a label in your time series animation? I mean, can you put
Oh,
your label about maybe your the date of the earthquake in your time series animation?
oh, that's a good question. Let's see. It looks like it.
Oh yes.
Yes. Let's see what happens when you play it. Yeah, they appear with the. Oh, it went really little here. Whoa, look at that. Amazing. Yeah, so you can add your labels and then they just appear with your event. Very good.
I have a question.
Sure.
Okay, so the video show that it's flicker and then it's not stay on that place. Can we accumulate the dot so at the end of video we can show all the earthquake happen on the time?
Yes, you can. That's a good
And
question.
also, I have a question. Can we show the time lapse timestamp label that it change over time? So
Oh, like
can,
like a counter.
yeah, yes, like a counter.
You know, there is a way to do it, but it's very it's not an easy task. It's beyond the scope of this tutorial today. But there is a way to do it, but unfortunately it's very time consuming, and I'm really hoping that QGIS comes out with a better way to do it sometime soon. And I believe they will. But yes, there is a way to do it. It's just I'm unable to have the time to teach that in this one. But as far as accumulating the events, if you go back into the properties when we first selected the temporal attribute, you can put select this accumulate features over time. You see that box?
Yes.
And then it will actually accumulate over time. Do you see them adding? It's very flickery on my end, but usually it can be, yeah, so they can just keep adding over time.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So that's all I had today on my lecture on seismicity. If there's not any more questions, then I'll pass it on over to Hunter, unless you all would like to take a break.
Yeah. Any question?
Oh, there is one thing I did want to show really quick. One of the gals had an issue with her faults, showing her teeth on her faults. So I just wanted to show that really quick. If you click on your symbol, and then you click on your marker, your simple marker here, then the size is the one that you want to increase. So do you see it's getting bigger? So that is all that I wanted to show her earlier. And then also, if you want to make a little bit darker, then your stroke width here, if you increase the stroke width, then it gets a little bit bolder as well.
Hello, Jen. Can I ask about the Timor-Trope symbols? What symbol we use if that not does?
Yeah, so on the Timor trough, I guess because in the Hall 2009 paper, we were using this the blocked line, but I guess you can use dashed line. I don't know if you click on this one and use a dashed line.
Okay, that's line.
Yes, but either one is fine.
Okay, thank you.
Sure. We have someone that has a hand raised. Can I help you? Muhammad?
Miss Batista, one question. Can you save each frame from your time series animation maybe in JPEG or PNG format?
Save the animation?
Yes, save each specific frame for your time series animation.
Yeah, you can export these one frame and it saves it as a PNG.
Okay.
Yes.
So maybe what was Miss Berlian asked, maybe if we want to put a label about the time of the earthquake that change over time, should we maybe save its specific frame from the text animation and maybe create another animation using another application maybe, because I think the GMT application using the same method, because it create so many maps that have timestamp that change over time.
Yeah, I know that GMT, I think you can use the MPEG tool, I think, to compile the frames into a movie. But I believe that the GUI program Shotcut allows you to do that as well. So you can save as many frames as you would like and then convert that into a movie using one of those applications. And I believe the FFmpeg tool actually will work with this one as well if you already have it. Yes. Was that your question? I'm sorry. Wondering how to make a movie?
Thank you for the answers.
Okay, sure. Are there any more questions? Would you guys like to take a break?
Yeah. I think if no question, we can take a break for maybe 50 minutes. Hello, any question? I think no question, and we can take a break. No. Thank you very much, and we continue maybe in 10 o'clock or
10 o'clock sounds good.
yeah. Okay.
Okay, we'll see you at 10 o'clock.
Yeah, maybe more 5 minutes. Yeah, 5 minutes more than 10. Oke, nanti ketemu lagi pukul 10 ya. Ya, kurang lebih 5 menit.
Siap, Pak.
Oke. Thank you very much. See you.
Well, it's about time to restart pretty soon.
Yes, I think so. I thought so.
Takes time for people to get back.
No worries.
It's a good group, big group too, 26 people attending, including us.
Yeah, I forgot to pin the name, so we don't know where they come from. Some of them. Jadi Pedianto, Kelly, Wulandari, Nur Samsita. Oke, sudah siap ya, teman-teman ya? Halo.
Siapa?
Are you ready? Okay, we will continue this session. Okay, Walter, sorry, Hunter, please, it's yours.
Okay, thank you. I'm just going to share my screen here. Okay. So this next section is going to focus on kind of combining some of the data sets that we've looked at here. So in this case, we're going to look at shallow seismicity and we're going to compare that with population. And the reason we're doing that is shallow seismicity in general tends to be more destructive in comparison to deeper seismicity. Simplification here, but this is due to less travel time of the seismic waves. Oftentimes, high population is more typical of a higher amount of man-made structures and buildings and infrastructure and stuff like that. And this can pose a seismic risk. So we kind of want to compare the two and get an idea of where major earthquakes are in comparison to high population centers. So here's some of the data sets that we're going to need. So I'm going to kind of individually click on these to show you how to get them, and then I'll show you how to put them into QGIS. So first thing we're going to need is a population density text data set. So if I click this here, it should pop up. Here we go. So this is from hum data. I think it's like a world database set. So what this data set is, it's a Indonesia population statistics, and it's broken down by Indonesian districts. So the one that we want is this one here. So to download that, you would simply click this download button right here. And we're going to have to modify this data set a little bit, and I'll get to that in just a little bit. So I'm going to go back to the PowerPoint. The next thing we're going to need is the actual Indonesian administrative boundaries layer. So this is going to be the actual vector layer that's the boundaries for these districts. So if I click on this, it'll take me to the same website, but for a different data set. So the one we want is the shapefile right here. And if we expand that, we can see that we have Indonesian boundary districts at multiple levels. And I'll kind of give an explanation of what those individual levels mean. So once again, I'll go back to the PowerPoint real quick. And then the last thing we're going to need is an earthquake layer. So in my case, and kind of like Jen demonstrated, I'm using the USGS catalog. And in my case, I think I've downloaded 4 to 10 and from 2001 to 2021. It's better to kind of get a bigger spread of data because we can always filter that down in QGIS. So we can actually jump into QGIS now. So we want to import all of our layers. So to do that, we can go to the layer tab. We can go to add layer, add vector layer. And the first thing we can do, and I'm under the vector layer here, we're going to go and find our files by clicking this button here. And the first thing I want to get is the boundary layers. So Indonesian administrative boundaries. And there's a lot of files within this folder. First thing I'm going to show is the level 1. So the number here indicates the level of detail essentially. So if I click level 1 here and I open that and I add that, I can see that it's broken down by these regions here. So we can see that in the island of Java, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, approximately 6 different districts. But if I was to add that layer again at a higher level, same thing, I'm adding the layer and I wanted to do level 2. So we want to click on this one. You always want to get the SHP file. That stands for shapefile. So level 2 shapefile and add that. I can see that I have a lot more detail in terms of the specific region, or perhaps not detail, but there's more individual districts. It's broken it down even more. So the level that we're going to be working with in this tutorial is the level 2. But we're also going to need to reference the level 1 as well. The next thing we can do is we can input our earthquake layer. So same way that Jen demonstrated, add layer, delimited text. You're going to use the button up here to find the file. So in my case, I have it in an earthquake catalog file. And this is my file. CSV, no headers if you got it from USGS catalog. X field is longitude, Y field is latitude, and Z is depth. We can add that, and we see we now have an earthquake layer. For the time being, I'm going to turn it off, because for now we just want to focus on getting the actual population density layer. And now the other thing we need to do is we need to modify our actual population statistics. And I'll show you why here. So if we find the file where we saved it, in my case, I saved it here. You can do this with Excel or Google Sheets, any kind of sheet application or software. We want to open it. And let me open this up bigger so you can see. I'm going to zoom in a little bit. So we see a lot of data here. Don't worry. Just kind of, I'm going to break it down for you so you can kind of understand what we're looking at. So this is the individual district that we're talking about. And you can see there's a lot of individual districts. And over here is the population broken down by age group. So in this case, we see it's B0004. What that stands for is both genders, male and female, from age 0 to age 4. And the same thing over here, both genders, age 5 to 9, 10 to 14, and so on. That's great, but we want both genders, we want the total population. So we want both genders of all ages. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna add all these up and put them in a new column that we just created. So to create a new column, you highlight the entire row, you right click, and you put insert, and it makes a new column. So we should title it. So we could do population. We do B for both male and female. And so the way we're gonna add all these up is that we're gonna highlight from row J, and we're gonna highlight all the way to row X. So that's, excuse me, I to X. So that's from 0 all the way to 75 plus. So the way we're gonna do that is highlight the cell that you wanna put the total in. You're gonna do equals SUM, standing for sum. Double click that. And then highlight from I to X. And then once you've done that, you hit enter. And that gives you the total population. Now we want to do that for every column. So the way you would do that is that you just take this little right-hand corner, this is in Excel at least, and double click that. And you can see that it extended that all the way down to the bottom. So now we have the total population for all the counties in Indonesia. So now all we would do is we would save as, and you could change the, actually you don't even need to change the file format. So you could just save this file. Okay, I've already done this. This is my modified one. So now in Excel, or excuse me, in QGIS, we want to add that layer. So we're going to go to add layer, add a vector layer, and we want to select that file that we modified. Open. And this is really important here. So we have it as a vector layer. In this auto detect type, we want to click yes on that. And essentially what that means is that it's going to auto detect the fields and be able to sort and categorize based on those fields. And I'll show you kind of what I mean in just a sec. So go ahead and add that. And you'll see that it doesn't add as a, it doesn't add as a spatial layer. It's not on the map. It's just a table. So if we click this and we open our attribute table, we can see that it's a table and it's got the field that we modified here. So it's got our population total, that's both genders, total population, and it's got this unique code. This ADM2P code is a unique code for each level 2 district. And if we go to the actual boundary layer, and we, excuse me, we need to open the attribute table. So open the attribute table on the boundary layer. We can see that each district also has that same ADM2P code. So they have the same ADM2P code. So now what we're going to do, we're going to match the P code from the layer without, that's not on the map, with the layer that's on the map. So we're going to essentially combine those two layers. So to do that, what we're going to do is we're going to right click on the boundary layer, go to properties, go down here to this little arrow that says joins, manage joins. And what you're going to do is you're going to hit the plus button down here. And you want to select the chart. So IDNA, the modified version. And join field and target field are asking us how we want to link them. And we want to link them by that unique ADM to P code. And that's because each district has that unique P code. So we're matching the layers based on that code. So if we okay that, make sure you have cache join layer in memory checked. And we can see that we now have a join field based on that unique code. And so if we opened the attribute table on the boundary layer backup, we can, and when we scroll over, we should now see that we have new values. All right, so now what we can do is we can right click this layer, this boundary layer. We can go to properties. And we want to stylize based on these new features that we just used. So we're going to go to categorize. We want to select the value we want to sort by. And that's going to be sorry, let me just make sure I did this right. Oh, I forgot to save it. So we're going to do the same thing. Make sure you save it. ADM2, P code. Okay. Apply. Okay. Now open the symbology tab back up. Go to categorized. And we're going to select that we want to sort by that total population that we just made. So you got to find it. So for me, that was right here, population total of both genders. We could classify that. And we see that it's got values getting greater. And we can set a scale to this, or a color ramp scale. So on the color ramp section, hit the drop down arrow, and we can do red for now. We can see how that looks. So we can see that we now have a color ramp scale for each district. And this color ramp scale is based on the population within each district. So right now, one thing to note is that the scale, so the lowest value and the greatest value, are based on all of Indonesia. So what if we just wanted to focus on the island of Java, for example? So what we can do is we can go back to our properties here, and we can sort by area of land. So the annoying thing to do would select each and every level 2 county, or level 2 district, excuse me. But what we can do is we can also filter by level 1 districts, and that will apply to level 2. So let me show you what I mean. So if we go to properties, and I'm going to turn this on single symbol for now. And we go to our query builder. We're going to use it the same way that Jen has showed in her examples, but this time we could sort by level 2, but we'd be better off sorting by level 1. So to do that, we're going to double click the level 1 name. And we can see that we have all the level 1 counties here. So for the island of Java, we have, I think, 6 major districts. We have this one, and you want to separate them by we're going to use the in clause, and you're going to want to separate them by a comma. So I'm selecting all the ones that are part of that main island. And I believe that's all of them. Double check that by testing it. So we can see that we've now filtered solely on this island. And then if we went back and do our symbology and applied that same categorized scaling, we can select the same thing. We're going to go to population total, same color ramp, apply. We can see that the highs and lows are now the highest value and the lowest value of that color ramp are only based on Java now. One other thing we could do too is if we go back to that, if we go all the way down to the bottom, we can see that we have these other values. It's best to change these to a different color. I like to do like a gray or something like that. And you can zoom in and you might say, what is this gray right here? That is just like a lake or a water mass. So that's all that is. So we don't want to include that in our population analysis. So that's kind of how to get the population map. Before I move on, were there any questions in regards to getting or setting up the population map? Okay, if not, we're going to go ahead and now add our earthquake layer, or really stylize it. So we can check it here. And we can bring it to where it's above our layer. Kind of the same thing that Jen went through. We're going to right click it, go to our symbology tab. And we're going to do a graduated scale. We want the magnitude to control the size. So I'm going to go to magnitude. And I'm going to go to size. And I can kind of do this the same way she did. I'm going to bump the low value up. Maybe bump the high value down. You can change the color. And then we can also adjust the bounds if we wanted to make them nice even numbers. Okay, so now we've scaled the size of our points by magnitude. We could also additionally make them transparent too, just slightly transparent. That way, to some degree, we can still see the points behind, or the population map behind them. So another thing we can also do is if we wanted a certain time frame of points, or we wanted to know particular earthquakes of a specific time, we can filter the earthquakes by time. So we're going to do it in the same fashion. We're going to use the query builder. And we're going to select time is greater than or equal to, for this demonstration, I'll do 2010. I'll just select the first date in 2010. That's January 3rd. And we can do we can do, if this is just, for example, if you wanted to do a time range, we could do less than 2020. So that would be 2010 to 2020. And we can test that. And we can see that we have about 15,000 results, 1,500, excuse me. So we now essentially have a map showing earthquakes, but also in relation to population based on Indonesian districts. If you wanted to, this would also be the time to add, we could add our tectonic layer that we made if you wanted to. So we could do tectonic boundaries. We could add those. Additionally, you could use an internet-based map, or you could use your bathymetry. So add layer, raster. I'm just gonna run through this real quick. Same thing. Pseudo color. The same steps as in lesson 1. Adjusting the minimum and maximum value. So now we also have our tectonic boundary layer and our color ramp layer to provide, even more context for these earthquakes. Okay. I also have this layer here. We could stylize this level 1 layer if we wanted to. We could turn that to gray. That way we could just focus solely on Java here. Okay, so this is kind of our final product. I'll briefly kind of run through the print composer again, maybe as a sort of refresher for everyone. So here's the print composer window. Same thing. Add the map. We're going to add a grid over on the right over here. You can set a frame, set our projection. Set our intervals here. Draw coordinates to get our coordinates on there. And then also, there's also an option to set extents if you wanted to. So if you wanted to set to specific latitude and longitude, this is how you would do it. So your X minimum, got your X maximum. We have our Y minimum, and we have our Y maximum. Well, I think I might have messed that up a little bit. Yeah, we want to set that to 114. There we go. And then we could also add the same components. Title. So we could do population. Of Indonesian districts versus shallow seismicity. It's important that we specify that we're at below 70 kilometers. Actually, we haven't done that yet. I can show you how to do that. Almost forgot an integral part there. So the way we would do that is we're going to use our query builder. We filtered by time, but additionally we want to filter by depth. So very simple. We're going to go to depth. We want everything less than. So we want, nope, wrong one. We want depth to be less than 70 kilometers. So we would just do 70. We can test that and we see that this is the outcome. We can go back to our map composer and we can see that it's updated now. All right, so our title is Population of Indonesian Districts versus Shallow Seismicity. And shallow seismicity in this case is 70 kilometers. We could adjust this how we wanted to. Stylize it to make it look good. And then it's also important that we add a legend to show all of our features here. So I'm going to kind of discard, we're going to auto update. We want to discard layers that we don't want to show in our legend. So in my case, I'm going to delete quite a few of these because I only have a subduction zone. And I can just rename this to Java Trench. And I can also rename this if I wanted to. Okay. We could set a title for this if we wanted to. So there's our legend. And then the other important thing that we add is a scale for our population of these counties, or these districts, excuse me. So we could do it with the rectangle method. Once again, add a rectangle. I think you guys know how to do this. We're going to change it to gradient, and we're going to choose the same scale that we used previously. So in my case, I just used the stock scale, and I'm going to rotate that 90 degrees. And then you could stylize this, and you want to choose the end members based on this individual layer. So to see those end members, you could just right click the country boundary layer, and here's the highest value, or excuse me, here's the lowest value, and here's the highest value. So you would simply put those values here. So we could add text box and put them there. I'm not going to go through the process of putting it there in this step, but that's how you would do it. You could do the same box method and create lines on the end, like we've kind of discussed already, and 2 simple text box. And then also, if you had your Gebco layer, it's also pretty important that you include the individual color ramp for that layer as well. So don't forget to do that. And then we could just add the general map items that we would want or that we would expect. So north arrow, we could add a scale bar as I've done here. And we want to add our sources as well. I'm not going to write them all out here in this case, but this would be the section where you'd want to add them. So make sure to add your sources there. And then you could also add your name and date. Were there any questions in regards to making this map or the process or anything?
Hello, Hunter. I want to ask a question. If we want to input the earthquake by the color, same as Miss Jen doing later. So in the legend, we must have two legend of size and color, or maybe what we must do.
Yeah, so if you're gonna do them by color, I think you would need two legends, yeah. So if I was gonna do, so if I wanted to filter these by color as well, same way that Jen mentioned, click on the marker. We're gonna sort by color, by depth. So we're only going to 70 here. I would actually probably pick, it's a good idea to pick a color ramp that doesn't include red because we already have red here. But just for the purpose of the example, yeah, this is how you would do it. And then when you're in your legend, you'd have to have one color ramp for the population and then another color ramp for the depth if you wanted to do that.
Okay, thank you.
Of course. Anyone else? Real quick, one other thing I kind of want to point out. So you see that when I filtered these, I selected these regions. If you weren't quite sure, like for example, let me go back to this layer here. If you weren't quite sure of which, like what this area was called, like I'm not extremely familiar with the districts in Indonesia, you could go to, sorry, the thing's kind of blocking me here. You click this icon right here, this little eye. That's identify feature. So if I wanted to know what this individual polygon right here is called, I can click it. You can see that down here in the corner, it shows me that the name, the level 2 name, is Bandung Barat. And it shows me all the associated fields, or all the associated data that's associated with that individual polygon. And this is how you can go, oh, sorry, I'm actually on the level 2. So if I click level 1, it'll show me level 1. So depending on which layer you have clicked in the layer management, that's what it's going to show you. So that layer is actually called Jawa Barat. So I found that really helpful for picking the specific area I wanted to filter by. Any final questions? I guess real quick, if there's no more questions, we can go over the assignment. So this is assignment 2. Essentially, you're going to be doing the steps that Jen and I both demonstrated. You're going to do a shallow seismicity map, and you're going to show that alongside just like a demonstrated population of Indonesian districts. And all the steps are in the PowerPoint that we have on LMS. So you're going to want an earthquake catalog. You're going to want to use those population statistics, and you're going to want to use the Indonesian subnational boundaries. I would say try and use your earthquake catalog if you can to get some experience using the BMKG catalog, but you're also welcome to use the USGS one if you want. We have mapping areas here. So these are going to be the bounds for your map. So just pick an area you wanted to do. And it just needs to include all the general things you would expect in a map: title, name, date, sources, grid lines, etc. And since we have another lecture Friday, I set this tentatively for Tuesday.
Our Independent Day.
What's that?
Independent Day, Indonesia.
Oh, okay. We can adjust it then.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll adjust that then. So yeah, don't worry about that.
No
I'll
problem,
modify it.
Yeah, no problem.
So yeah, but that's the general idea for assignment 2. Were there any questions on the assignment?
Silahkan kalau ada pertanyaan, tugas yang kedua ya. I think very clear.
I have a question.
Sure.
For the assignment 2, should we present our works in animation or just in
no, you don't have to do it in animation. You could just do like one simple map of shallow seismicity. And
so we don't have to make a temporal like Jen showed us earlier.
No, you don't have to. If you're feeling ambitious, you could, but no, it's not required.
Oh, thank you.
Of course. Anyone else?
Hello, so this assignment will be in PDF file, like assessment course?
Yeah, PDF file is recommended.
Okay.
All right, well, if there's nothing else, that's kind of all I had for today. So,
Okay. Thank you, Hunter Martin, and also Jessica and Walter for training session for today, the second day of I think the last agenda. Yeah, we hope that all of the participants will conduct the assignment as well as you can, yeah, and the best you can do. So we hope this training can improve your knowledge and also your capability to get the GIS map, especially for the seismicity around in Java, Bali, and Lombok region. Thank you very much, Hunter. Maybe see you. Maybe any comment from Jessica?
Jennifer.
Oh, sorry, Jennifer. Sorry. Any comment, Jennifer?
No, I just want to thank everyone for being here today and being good students and making good maps. So keep on working hard.
Yeah, we hope so. Okay, thank you.
Very good. Great maps, very impressive progress, and wonderful lectures from Jennifer and Hunter.
Yeah.
So have a good day. Enjoy your lunch.
Okay, thank you very much, Walter. See you.
See you.
Thank you, everyone.
Okay,
Thank you for the good
everyone.
explanation.
Ya, mungkin partisipan mengucapkan juga.
Thank you.
Can't wait to do this.
Yeah, sorry, Walter, Hunter, and Jen, because I can join now because I have another schedule parallel with this training. I'm so sorry. Yeah.
We miss you. We miss you very much.
Oh wow! Oh my goodness. Yeah. I want to give the little information for tomorrow because tomorrow is the last part of this training. So after Hunter and Jen give a lecture, maybe we are going to do the closing ceremony.
Yeah.
And this ceremony is joined from all participants from the first agenda until third agenda.
Yeah.
Yes.
Might be more than 80.
Yes. Yeah. Of course. Yeah.
Around about 80, maybe.
Yes.
About
yes,
80.
like
Yeah.
that.
Okay. Good. And I think that Hunter and Jennifer will give a short speech. I think they will have 3 or 4 slides each because they are the principal trainer and they will share their thoughts about the training.
Okay. Tomorrow maybe.
Tomorrow for the closing ceremony.
Yes.
Both Jen and Hunter will have a few words to say. Because
Okay.
they are the principal trainer.
Okay. Thank you. Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you, Walter, for your information.
Okay.
Yeah. Thank you for everyone, and thank you. Good night for Hunter, Walter, and Jen.
Thank you all.
Bye now. See you later.
See you.
Yeah. Terima kasih banyak untuk Pak Supri ya yang sudah menghandle dari pagi. Mohon maaf Pak, karena ada agenda ngajar jadinya sulit. Nanti besok kita ketemu lagi ya mungkin besok di hari terakhir, dan teman-teman jangan lupa untuk menyelesaikan pekerjaannya, tugas-tugasnya dari hari pertama sampai dengan ya at least lah hari ini, at least hari ini. hari ini mungkin terakhir tanggal berapa Pak Supri? Tanggal 17 ya, nggak jadi ya? Tanggal berapa ya? Pokoknya nanti dilihat aja ya. Ya pokoknya nanti diselesaikan aja pekerjaannya, saya lupa. Ya terima kasih banyak atas partisipasinya. Terima kasih banyak Pak Supri, dan selamat siang dan sampai jumpa lagi.
Terima kasih Bu, izinlah.
Terima kasih Bu, selamat siang.
Terima kasih.
Oke. Pak Rifki.
Iya.
Oh iya, udah selesai Pak Rifki, mungkin bisa di.
Oke.
Oh, ya.